Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary O'Connor with the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health here in Anchorage. Thanks to Alaska Public Media for allowing us to bring you Hangar Flying. This evening, we are pleased to have David Karalunas back on Hangar Flying. David's the policy lead with the Federal Aviation Administration's Compliance Philosophy Focus Team, and we've been busy talking about their new compliance philosophy. Thank you, David, and welcome back.
Hi, Mary.
So when we left off last time, we were talking about the changes to remedial training and some clarification about different actions that might be taken against certificate holders. What are some of the changes that have come along with the policy for remedial training?
Well, for those of you that are familiar with remedial training from years ago, it's been something that we've used for a long time, but remedial training used to be considered part of administrative action. It was administered under our legal process, but was not quite legal enforcement. So not an adjudicated finding of violation, but we did require evidence that a violation had occurred in order for us to use remedial training. That is still the case, but the policy changes that occurred October 1st of 2015 allowed us to move remedial training under compliance action, and we can administer it without having to start an enforcement case. So that policy went into effect a year ago, October, and based on feedback that we received, we decided to expand the eligibility criteria. So all of general aviation folks not using a certificate commercially were eligible, but we've expanded that to include single pilot operators and folks involved in maintenance under a Part 145 repair station, and also operations under Part 135 if certain criteria were met. And it's a very small organization where there's no one suitable to do training within the company, or there's no approved training program for the company. Single pilot operators are in that category, no training program required for them. So we've greatly expanded it. It's administered by the FAST team folks, but the inspector investigating whatever the event was that led to the compliance action has to make an offer to the airman, and the airman has to accept the offer, and then they sit down with the FAST team and work on developing a training agreement just like we used to do, and then that agreement is executed, and then the FAST team goes back to the investigating inspector, and the situation gets resolved as a compliance action.
So this new compliance philosophy has been in place for some time. Has it been used in Alaska?
It has been. I know I receive a lot of questions about the policy myself, and have done a lot of trainings with the flight standards inspectors in Alaska, and in fact it's been very successful.
Can you give us any examples?
Well, the one example that I wish I could share in great detail with everybody is so good that we're going to use it to develop training for our workforce, starting with our recurrent training for all ASIs around the country. But we had a fatal accident that both the pilot flying the aircraft and the organization that owned the airplane were both able to participate in compliance action. And that was a big challenge for us internally, because a lot of the more senior folks in flight standards, had that mindset, like we all did years ago, that because there was a fatality, we had to take an extreme action, an enforcement action of some kind. But in fact, the compliance philosophy focuses on the underlying behavior that led to the event rather than the severity of the outcome. And by focusing on that behavior, we can fix whatever caused the accident to happen and ensure that it doesn't happen again through training or whatever the right intervention is. So hopefully in the years to come, everybody will be able to see the training that we've developed out of this, but it is being used and used successfully.
Where would a pilot go to find out more information about this philosophy, and do you have any advice for them?
I do. We have a public website that's faa.gov/go/CP, and our key policies are there, and references, and our brochure that you may see an inspector hand out to you at a interaction of any kind, but certainly when there's an investigation underway. There's a lot of good FAA articles that have been published and speeches given, but our Safety Briefing magazine from January, February 2016 has a editorial from FAA Administrator Michael Huerta and an article by Jeff Smith, one of my fellow team members on the FOCUS team, talking about compliance philosophy. And you can go to FAA.gov and search for FAA Safety Briefing magazine and find that. EAA and AOPA both have several articles that they've produced that you can go to their websites and search and find them. They both also have done webinars. EAA did a webinar at AirVenture in July, and AOPA did one, I think, a little earlier, and you can find those on their websites as well.
Great. Thank you so much for all your information, and thank you for taking the time to be here with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Mary. Glad to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Hangar Flying, and we hope you've learned something about the FAA's new compliance philosophy and where to go for more information if you have questions. Until next time, fly safely.